This is a bit of a weird segment, but I wanted to talk about it because I saw a lot of discourse, and it's also the holiday season. I don't really care about the commercial elements of Christmas. In fact, I despise them. I find them very distasteful. When you go into a store and it's the music and all the decorations, Christmas has, for me, always been a very unaesthetic holiday. Spend time with your family, your friends, great. I'm not that sappy about it either. If you spend time with people after New Year's or whatever, I don't think you're missing out on anything fundamentally. It's just an excuse to hang out. But I saw these comics. This is a little bit like eye rolling, I feel, but I wanted to talk about them. This is a feel good segment, okay? Anyone seen this? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have. I saw somebody say no. See, somebody here is saying no. I'm not asking if you haven't seen it. I'm asking if you have. Whenever I say, let me know if you have, I don't want people saying if they haven't, because it's really difficult to read chat and separate the yeses and the nos. I just want to see people responding with a yes. Yesn't. Okay, right. Ban the no's, permaban. Get him out of here. Okay, so one thing that I've noticed about most people these days is that they're weak and cowardly and pathetic and insecure. This bothers me because I'm just not attracted to you people. If I'm gonna get down with somebody or like date them or whatever, I need them to be secure and confident, which means that this is like a social problem that's really affecting my life and my dating pool, and it bothers me. I don't want this. Insecurity is a huge issue. You ever notice that like it's much in the same way that on TikTok, people will aestheticize mental illness because it makes them look cool. Not new to TikTok, by the way. People have been doing this for ages, at least since the beginning of the internet. People kind of do the same thing with insecurity or being antisocial, where they'll have what I would consider to be a personality defect. Not a huge insult, we all have them, but then they'll make them like romantic or whatever, like being an introvert or being antisocial. It's not just you not wanting to be around people. It's your like your deep, rich intelligence just can't stand being around these lesser people. People act like that. You've seen that, right? I've seen that. This is mostly something I associate with cringe young people, because I and a lot of other people did this when we were young and cringe, but I feel like I'm seeing more adults doing it. And I feel like it correlates a lot with this, Gen Z millennial obsession with using therapy language to legitimize negative or toxic feelings they have. That's something that I'm seeing a lot these days, where therapy language is really effective in giving people like a pretext for bad things they do. Because then they can. What was that one thing that went viral because it was so bad? If something like, I have information that may be harmful to you. Do you have space like it's emotional labor to like deal with your friend's problems or something like that. Or what Jonah Hill did. I remember those Jonah Hill texts where they were like really weird and possessive, but they were being framed through this therapy language bullshit. So it's like, oh, as long as he's being introspective about his possessiveness, that's so common these days. Yeah, possessiveness being framed as like legitimate if the person is self-aware about it being their boundaries. Like before you would say, I don't want you talking to other men, but now you say, you talking to other men is a boundary of mine, we discussed this. And it's like, oh, now it's fine because it's being legitimized through this language. And it's like, oh, well, no, it's the same thing. You're just changing the way you express. It's the same. You're doing the same thing. Anyway, I saw this comic. It got a lot of attention, positive and negative, 20.5 million views. I thought, could I talk about this? Is there something I could say about this? I think there is. So you got two little dudes here, green and red. Okay. Gonna talk a little bit. Just follow along with me. All right. So green says, so you ignored me all day because you missed me. And red says, yes. There's a lot of comic panels here. Just work with me, okay? Green says, why didn't you just tell me directly that you missed me instead of avoiding me on purpose? And red says, well, I chose not to communicate because I didn't want to bother you or come off clingy/annoying, so not talking to you at all was the healthiest option. This is pretty common, right? I think a lot of people do this to some extent, where they're so afraid of coming across as clingy or annoying that they don't like reach out to people they care about. Yeah, it's fundamentally a fear of rejection. I gotta say to you guys, and I'm insisting on this, okay? You're gonna die one day, and when you're dead, you're out of opportunities. So until you're dead, you have to be a blazing star. If you like people, let them know. If you want to do a thing, do it. Be strong, okay? You really only get one shot at all this. You know, if a person really is your friend, then you pestering them a bit will come across as more endearing than anything. And if it doesn't, they probably weren't that close of a friend to you. I encourage you to be direct and straightforward. You know? Be strong, be a blazing star, you know, be active, express yourself directly to others. Don't worry about the outcomes of rejection too much, because if they're good people, the rejection will either not happen, or it won't be that big of a deal, or it'll be an indication that it was never going to happen anyway. You know? Text people. Just randomly say, hey, really appreciate this friendship. If you inconvenience another person, if you ask something of them, or bother them, or in any way impede upon them, don't apologize. Thank them for putting up with you. Much more positive. You've seen that with your friends. Like, if you do something for a friend because they needed a bit of help, them apologizing. When have you ever wanted to hear an apology in a situation like that? If you help a friend out and they're like, I'm sorry, I need help. When have you, certainly for me, I have never thought, yeah, about time, I was waiting for that apology. Like, if they really put you out, or like there's some real imposition, I mean, maybe, but for the most part, I'd rather them just say, hey, thank you very much for helping me out. So you should do the same. You should. Really, really, you should. Incredibly important. Yeah, I've said this before. I've gotten emails from people who have said, you know, that really helped me. You know, don't apologize. Thank people for the help they provided. Very, very good. Very useful. Anyway, then the green person says, that's not healthy, in reference to the not talking to them all day because they wanted to talk to them. And then the green person says, I understand you have dealt with others in the past that have made you feel this way, but it's not good to bring that bad habit into new friendships or relationships, you know? If somebody I cared about talked to me this way, directly in real life, not in comic format, I would hate them for it. But you know, that's comics for you. I hate this art style. Is it even a style? It's so plain. Okay, whatever. Almost done. Green person says, it's always good to be direct and communicate with others instead of assuming and self-sabotaging. A good thing you have with someone you care about. Totally true, by the way. Very correct. Guys, this is a good lesson right here. You see this? Good lesson. Extremely true. You know, it sounds cringy gay. A lot of people have a tendency, I think, to see good advice and then to think it's like naive or misguided. This is a big incel thing where legitimately, and no matter how much they seethe and cope about this, it remains true. Confidence is key in hooking up with people. If you wanna slap some pussy, you know, do like little bongo drums, whatever you like to do. Confidence, key factor here. Overwhelmingly important. But a lot of incels, you know, they'll hear that and they'll be like, "Wow, nice cope. Bet you're gonna tell me to take a shower next." They don't want to accept good advice because it would negate their worldview. It would challenge their cynicism. Cynicism is like a comfortable blanket that you can wrap yourself in that tells you that you're right to not try. Cynicism is weak. People think it's intelligence. It's not. It's often quite stupid. It's fine to be cynical of specific things, of information or whatever, but as a worldview, it's not a very good guiding ethos, I think, because it tends to lead you to feel like it's right to just never put in the effort. So don't do that, you know. And then the green person says, except for you, I'm cutting you off today. This isn't the first time we've had a conversation like this, and even after reassuring you multiple times, you still continue to be toxic towards me. I still respect you, but we can't be friends anymore. Take care. And then the final comic is like, you might have thought this comic had a wholesome little lesson, but nah, some folks are deadass too toxic to stay friends with, let alone be in a relationship with for real. Stop trying to see the good in people in exchange for your mental health. Some people will always be stuck in their ways. Now, this obviously, that's why this has like 20.5 million views. Oh, 20.7. It's gone up by 200,000 views in the past couple of minutes. That's nice. The reason why it got so much attention, because it's like, it'll be wholesome, it'll be positive. What a twist at the end there. Normally I like the idea of cutting off toxic friends because a lot of people will let their toxic friends, I mean, drag them down like an anchor. This comic in particular is really stupid, obviously, because this comes across as a very disproportionate response to what seems like a minor issue, especially because Green could have just contacted Red. Yeah, it's a bait and switch. It's cheap. It's cynical. It's controversy bait. Is this just comedy? If it was just comedy, I mean, even if it was, and I don't think it is, but even if it was, people sure do be arguing about it in the comments, like a lot of people. I've seen Gen X wine moms do this therapy language self-help stuff on Facebook for at least a decade. Yeah, it's not completely new. I just feel like more of it is happening. There's kind of like a middle ground here, I feel, because on one hand, if a person is a consistent toxic influence to you, you should cut them off, And what it means to be toxic or what it means to be consistent in that respect can vary a lot based on your interpretation or the context of the situation. So it's not like an easy determination to make. I don't think there's like a clean line, but there is a line somewhere. And the line's in different places for different people. The problem is that on the other side of that equation, there are also people who, I associate this behavior primarily with women, which must be valid and not a bias on my part, where they have a very inflated sense of self-worth, and as a consequence, they'll cut people off on a dime for being even mildly inconvenient to them. You understand what I'm talking about? I don't think this type of person is quite as common as the people who just let the negativity sort of drag them down, but they don't want to deal with anyone else's shit. They don't want to deal with anyone else's problems. Total non-starters. So they won't put in any work so they can never have any real friends. It's always like transactional friendships of convenience. Real friendship, by the way, has to involve some degree of irrational mutual service. That's what people are looking for in a relationship, I think that the broader, like, overarching values that you bring to how you treat relationships should be rational. You should be interested in what they provide for you as well, because otherwise you're kind of a mark, But at the end of the day, what everyone wants is to have friends and loved ones who irrationally love them, right? What's a mark? Like a mark for a scam, like you're easy to take advantage of. People don't like the idea that their friends, their family, everyone around them is interested in them purely on like a rational assessment of mutual exchange value. People don't like knowing that. That's not don't spoil, Flevier. Yeah, that's not what people care for. So to a degree, being a good friend and a healthy person can also mean being willing to put up with people's bullshit more than you might otherwise want to. You know what I mean? A degree of irrationality. It's part of being a beautiful burning sun, a little bit, I feel. Sometimes you will bring more energy to a relationship than another person, and that's okay. Because imagine it the other way around. Imagine, and this is just a hypothetical, I know this doesn't apply to any of you, imagine you're kind of a loser, shut-in introvert who doesn't have much social skills. Put yourself in the shoes of that person, all right? Now, imagine that you find a friend, and that friend is like a radiant beacon of energy. They're kind, they're interesting, they like spending time with you. They very clearly put in more than you put into the relationship. Now, assuming you can get over your feelings of guilt and insecurity for not being as cool as them, I imagine you would like that. That sounds cool to a lot of introverted people, to have a friend or a partner who's kind of like a beacon of energy they can draw from or sort of borrow from, or at least enjoy being adjacent to them. If that relationship is beneficial in that direction, it is equally possible then that there are very radiant, energetic people who give a lot more than they get sometimes, who enjoy being that person to other people. You know? It's possible to give more in a relationship and for that to be fine. But you have to work that out for yourself. You know? It's a back and forth. You can go either way. You got to work that out for yourself. I just don't think that it's innately a non-starter if a relationship is not perfectly mutual. Somebody keeps saying they made a sequel comic. What is this? Jesus Christ, lefty memes. What is this? What? We're doing controversy bait now. You know, you go viral with the first one. All right, what is it? I was going to show you another one. Okay, what is this? What do I say? Purple 1, purple 2? Person 1, person 2? Person 1 says, the trauma I've gone through has made it hard for me to communicate right. Many such cases. Person 1 continues to say, I don't mean to be a problem, so I just need help at times to feel reassured when I overthink and rely on the worst case scenario to determine my actions. Yeah, this person is literally just someone who baits controversy. Well, look, we're baiting. We're baiting. Person number 2 says, well, that's okay. As long as you try to communicate, you'll be more than fine with a person who's just as mature and mindful of you as you are of them, you know? Don't be afraid to ask questions for closure, reassurance, and knowledge. There's nothing wrong with asking a direct question to get a direct answer from the person you're talking to. Okay? I'm sub-comics? Okay, I'm just getting the gist of this one. Hot take, though. There are plenty of people with mental illnesses and disorders that are on the spectrum and actively manipulate people too, so let's not act like they can be pardoned when they do bad shit to others. Bro, tighten up. That's true. If someone used their illnesses as a weapon for pity, watch out for that shit, because that is toxic to associate with. If you leave me, I will kill myself. You ruined my day. Apologize now. You just triggered me. You're a terrible person. Okay. Odd way to write that out, but all right. Does anyone else feel like this is a fairly uncontroversial statement that's being written out in this way to bait controversy? Like the art style and the excessive paneling it's like, well, you know, in conclusion, did you know that mentally ill people can be bad sometimes? And it's like, hot take, you know. All right, I don't respect the bait. I don't respect it. The only bait I'm interested in is the stuff I do to myself. You know, this is beyond me. I was going to look at this as well, which was like a nice redraw of the original comic, and it's also better drawn, so that's cool, with a better sentiment. But my appetite for schmaltzy Twitter comics has faded somewhat. The reason I'm going through all of this is just because it's Christmas time, you know, and a lot of you weak, pathetic, your floppy people, you know, could probably benefit from being a lot more direct to people you care about. You know what I mean? You could benefit significantly. You could there are people you care about you could reach out to, and you could meet new people too. One of the big reasons that modern, you know, people don't have as many friends, romances, everyone finds it online or whatever. People don't just, you know, talk to or engage with one another. We're so afraid of imposing on people. So you know what? Impose on people a little more. That's my self-care message for this holiday season. If you're living your life never talking to people, never doing anything, never engaging, you know, because you're afraid they might take it the wrong way or this or that, the other, you know, I'm not saying go up and be rude or weird or whatever, but I don't think you're doing anything wrong by talking to people, you know? It's insane to me that our culture has progressed to a point, and it's worse in like Finland than it is here, I don't know. It's insane to me that our culture has progressed to a point where it's considered kind of weird to like say hi or like briefly chat at a person next to you in a grocery store, you know? You know who would never refrain from chatting to somebody? I had to crouch down to get him. How do you feel about being social? Yeah. See, he's looking for more friends. Look at this. What is this? I'm somewhat of a social butterfly. I randomly talk to everyone. Recently, I was in an elevator with a lady. I said, hello, how was it? Her reply was, stay away from me. How dare you think you can talk to me? Kind of ruined my night, not gonna lie. Okay, so Archrave, I'm gonna help you out with level 2 of confidence, okay? Level 2 is you thinking in your head, damn, fuck that bitch, and then not worrying about it. That's crazy, by the way. But you know, that's, you know, past a point. If a person reacts that way, that's on them. You know, that's not you. You didn't do that. Assuming you're not misrepresenting the situation, you didn't slap her ass when you said hi. You know, I'm assuming you're truthful here. But you know, that's on her. People, one of the things you have to understand about engaging with other people and talking with them and potentially imposing on them is that if you're in the right, if you're doing something that's okay, their negative feelings are their problem and their fault, not yours. And I mean that. If they're a little bit busy and you say hi, or when they seem like rushing or whatever, that's their thing. That's not your thing. You know? Like, exercise good judgment. I'm not saying go up to every chick, every gym bunny in the gym, pull their earbud out and say hi to them. You know, I'm like, don't be lunatics here. People are so afraid, you know, oh, what if they don't like this? What if they react this way? Who cares? As long as what you're doing is in the right, their negativity isn't your fault or your problem. You should go out of your way when possible to make people feel good and happy. And I think that for the most part, being active and enthusiastic and social and engaged with people will make far more people happy than it will upset the random idiots. You know, I think that generally that's a good ratio there. Not to mention, we're all being made much less happy due to the overall decline of casual socialization. The fact that we don't know anyone anymore, talk to anyone anymore, you know, you never meet anyone anymore. Like, that's making people miserable. So there has to be like an aggregate solution. And if, of course, you know, some people don't like that, they're just, I'm really sorry. If you hate being told, hello, how you doing in public, don't go outside. I'm sorry. We can't freeze all of human society purely for the benefit of the few truly antisocial people. You know, that's just a problem you're going to have to deal with. Goddamn right, Canoe. Everyone I work with complains about strangers talking to them to the point where I feel bad, so I never tapped. No. Be the problem. I mean it. Holiday season. We got to talk to folks. Met a drunk guy coming back from a Christmas party when I went out for a smoke down outside the building. Walked with him to a gas station. He bought me a Coke. Hell yeah. Love our drunk friends. Yeah, be the problem you wish to see in the world. Exactly. Well, I can't really speak to cultural differences, Alan B., but the thing is about culture is that American culture is best and every other country stinks. So, you know, do whatever you want, I guess. Stay positive, test negative. Precisely. You've seen enough anime to know about Japanese culture, right? Yeah, and the Japanese, and what are they? They're all miserable and they don't. Yeah, I don't think we should take any notes from that. The only people who will talk to you in public are the sales administrators, okay? No, I don't think so. Yeah, going to South Korea with their average birth rate of like 0.8 and looking for advice on how to socialize. No, I don't think so. The only thing I know about modern South Korean culture is a Parasite, and I gotta say it's not looking good. I say, talk to people, be social, be friendly. Vaush, there's an anime airing right now where a guy gets 100 bitches, so maybe the show is relatable. Yeah, after watching some Jujutsu Kaisen, we got booted back to the Crunchyroll main page with my friends a couple weeks ago. We saw that and we were like, how bad is it? We looked at like one episode 5, immediate pedophilia. One of the girls is a fully like 3 inches tall. We saw it for like a minute. And there was like a science girl who took a potion to make herself tiny, and then she pissed in a diaper. I'm not joking. That's on the front page of Crunchyroll. So in case you're wondering where Japanese culture gets you in terms of like social acclamation, you know, that's the level they're on. That's what they're up to right now. Imagine using Crunchyroll. It's where we're watching Jujutsu Kaisen. What do you want? JJK isn't pedophilia. What do you want from me? It's good. Vaush, don't get me wrong, but you personally say you're a very combative person, so why should we take social education from you? Because I'm not combative when I'm talking to random people, like, on the street. I would never argue with a random stranger. What good could come from that, you know? Vaush, see, the secret to talking to people is not to ask them questions, just say pleasant things. Questions are horrible to think through if you're tired, but compliments and friendly words work wonders. That is true. I think that, Yeah, generally speaking, you don't want to ask questions. You want to make statements, you know? Imagine like your job as you interact with a stranger is to be the most pleasant like JRPG NPC, okay? You know, when you walk up to a guy and you click on talk and he says something like, "My, the carrots are looking ripe this year," or something like that. You want to be that guy, basically. There's a reason you don't click on the carrot guy and he says like, "What's your credit card?" Stupid bit. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's good. Started talking to cashiers and stuff, simple stuff, but and such simple stuff, but it makes me feel alive. Yeah, go to Trader Joe's. They're always friendly there. But yeah, you should. Yeah, if a stranger says good morning to you, you should say it's not a good morning. Okay, unironically, you know what you can do is like really good social practice. I know this sounds insane to some of you. For some of you, you'll think like, oh yeah, of course. And some of you are thinking, this is insane, but you should try it. Okay. Randomly, you know, you're outside, you're at a bus stop, you walk by a person, you're talking to a cashier, someone's next to you in the aisle, whatever circumstance you find yourself next to a person, okay, you should get in the habit of complimenting people because that shit will stick with them for ages, a day or more. You know, the main fuck up that guys do is that guys, because guys are retarded, men are stupid and they have small brains, when they think of like, compliment a person, but a chick will get mad if I compliment her tits or ass. You idiot. You troglodyte. You buffoon. There are so many things you can compliment that are not just that, or saying like you're pretty. Don't say you're pretty. Saying you're pretty as a guy is just saying I want to fuck you in the minds of most people. Don't do it. Don't say it. Why not say something like, oh man, I really like your top. Or, you know, oh my God, you know, that makeup looks really, like if they have some like fancy makeup thing going on, you know, whatever. Like, oh man, those shoes drippy as shit. Hell yeah. You can say that if you're talking to a young person, you're talking to someone who looks like 20, you can say drippy as shit and that probably will land. You know, look for signs of them being internet poisoned somewhere. You'll see it, you know, they're on their phone all the time, you know, whatever. You can say whatever. Yeah, I just like, get in the habit of it. I cannot imagine myself saying it to anyone. It's easy, you know, you're just talking to someone. People have clothing on. If somebody has like nothing to compliment, by the way, this is the reason why you shouldn't just go outside wearing a t-shirt and shorts, okay? Because that shit looks. What do you compliment? Oh, I like your t-shirt. No, bare ass clothing. You know, you got an accent piece people can compliment. You know, I love your funky hat. Love your necklace. I love your bracelets. I love this. I love that. Looks great. Nice. Oh man, that's really cool. The more like esoteric your knowledge is in a particular subject, you can kind of like, you know, oh man, that denim, that's some nice raw selvage. Look at that selvage on that denim. Wow, you know, nice cuff. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? The compliment is what matters, you know? Do that more often. Do that. I mean it. Holiday season, do that. You go outside, do that. You know, 99% of the time, you do that, someone responds positively. Sometimes maybe they're like, you know, whatever. Not your problem. Just don't be weird. As long as you're not being weird, it's fine.